Sylvanas has gone from the leader of a largely shunned race of undead with a penchant for chemical weapons, but one who ultimately liked to remain in the shadows, to a full-blown showboated Warchief who is the first one to order an all-out war since Garrosh Hellscream, and with an ever-growing string of atrocities about to be added to her tally. But why did Sylvanas really become Warchief? The official line is that Sylvanas stood up at the Battle of the Broken Shore and arranged for the evacuation of Horde heroes when they were ambushed by the Legion. Back in Orgrimmar, the Warchief at the time, vol'jin, said that the lower spirits had given him clarity and shown him that Sylvanas must be the one to lead the Horde. But what if this isn't what happened at all? In fact, it's surely not what at all happened, and I'll explain why. First of all, look at what Sylvanas has done as Warchief in the fight against the Legion. Nothing really. Any other sensible Warchief would have done the same. The only personal intervention on her part was an attempt to recruit more Valkyr, something that had nothing to do with the fight against the forces of Sargeras and was entirely personal to her. The fight against the Legion was largely orchestrated by the Order Halls and a few Alliance heroes. The Horde played their part, of course, but not via any leadership of Sylvanas's. Secondly, since the defeat of the Legion, Sylvanas had gone along with the Goblin scheme of prioritising the mining of Azerite over the well-being of Azeroth herself. She gives the task of healing Azeroth to Bane, but secretly urges the Goblins to excavate their little hearts out and damn the consequences. She's also destroyed a world tree, and for no reason other than to spite a stranger who was dying anyway. Lower spirits, for those who don't know, are very much spirits of nature and tied to Azeroth. They are hardly likely to have wanted Sylvanas to lead the Horde to these actions, and there are further abominable acts to come. It's not even like these actions are a surprise to anyone who remembers just what Sylvanas has done in the past to achieve a goal. So, if we assume that the lower spirits aren't as mad as a box of frogs, then the obvious conclusion is that the lower spirits did not tell vol'jin to appoint Sylvanas. So was vol'jin just hearing voices in the madness of his death throes? No, there is a precedent for a more obvious cause. I think Blizzard are going to reuse a storyline from the past, but not Garrosh 2.0. I think they will reuse Ner'zhul's story. Ner'zhul was tricked by Kil'jaeden into thinking he was the voice of Orc ancestors, which led towards the Orcs taking the fell blood of Manaroth and on the course towards the invasion of Azeroth. I think the same thing has happened to vol'jin, but with old god whispers rather than some senior Eredar. We know that the old gods use this trick, and there just seems no way that the spirits of nature would ever see the benefit in Sylvanas leading the Horde. But people like to think that the old gods are afraid of Sylvanas. They think she can't be corrupted because she's already dead. Not so. She doesn't need corrupting because she is already as they would like to see the whole of Azeroth. The Warcraft Chronicles describes the force of death as one that breeds despair in mortal hearts and pushes everything towards a state of entropic decay and eventual oblivion. The old gods are described as wanting nothing less than the destruction of all life in the universe. The wishes of Sylvanas and that of the old gods is perfectly in sync. But why did the Void Whispers in Illyria's head seem so keen for her to murder Sylvanas then? Surely this is proof that the old gods fear Sylvanas. No. In fact, that's the furthest thing from their minds. Throughout the comic in question, the Whispers were urging Illyria to murder anyone. They wanted Illyria to be corrupted. That's what the Whispers are about. That's what the Whispers are always about. They simply wish Illyria to fall from the narrow path she walks into their waiting arms, as so many have done before her. Tried and tested tactics. They achieve this with an evil act, such as a betrayal or murder. The reason they show the most urgency with Sylvanas is obvious. It was their best chance. They urged Illyria to murder Turalyon, but it was more in hope than expectation. They did the same with Varisa, but again, if they were being honest, it wasn't hugely likely to succeed. But Illyria, upon learning of her sister's existence as not only leader of the Horde, but an undead abomination, showed outrage and revulsion. Surely then, the murder of Sylvanas by Illyria was a realistic prospect, and the Void Whispers threw serious effort into this endeavour as one with a decent chance of success. There was nothing more to it than that. It all seems fairly obvious. The lower spirits of nature would never advocate a champion of death. The old gods would relish Sylvanas as Warchief because everything that is happening now is music to their ears. When the mortal races should be protecting and healing Azeroth, they are fighting over her blood. Thrall will take vol'jin's ashes to Zandalar, a massive nexus of lower spirits, and the truth will emerge. There will then be a realisation that the appointment of Sylvanas as Warchief was a terrible error, and maybe even Sylvanas will realise this. I don't get the impression that she wants the old gods to succeed. If she sees herself as doing their will, this might actually form a realistic redemption story which sees her voluntarily stepping down from the position of Warchief as she sees that she's been played. So, those are my thoughts, influenced by many discussions with you guys on stream. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe as well for further content, share with others who may also be interested, and until next time, I'll see you later.